It's 9 a.m. on that Thursday, and Melanie is already up, getting ready to go out. A very rare thing, because Melanie loves to sleep in, lounging in her $200,000 plus bed. And on her sheets that are worth thousands of dollars. That's why Melanie did everything she could to marry a very rich man. So she could enjoy life as she saw fit, and especially not have to work. Because Melanie is the embodiment of laziness. A woman for whom just standing around doing nothing is already a huge effort. Above all, to not have to worry about any bills. And she had the chance of a lifetime, marrying Mr. Franck, a billionaire, owner of several businesses. Including luxury furniture stores, luxurious gourmet restaurants, a F.wood company, and many others. Mr. Franck gave in to all the whims of his wife Melanie. Because he was very much in love with her. He said no. Very rarely, so Melanie treated him like a puppet, and spent his money as she saw fit, without worrying about the efforts Mr. Franck made to get that money. Melanie was a real jet-setter, who didn't spend a month in Lagos, without traveling to Dubai, Paris, or Los Angeles. Just to go shopping, and especially to take photos, and videos to feed her social media, especially Instagram. Where she was followed by more than 2 million people. Melanie was an influencer, without making any effort, because her lifestyle was very influential. And naturally, many young women wanted to be like her, and would give anything to be in her place. That morning, Melanie had breakfast in the living room, which almost never happens. Because Melanie always has breakfast in her bed, in her jacuzzi, or by the pool, relaxing. Melanie is going to make a checkup on one of her husband's real estate projects, intended for the rental of luxury apartments. Located in one of the richest neighborhoods of Lagos. This business will be very profitable for them. It will allow Melanie to travel even more, and spend even more money. After having her bodyguards waiting for more than 40 minutes. Because she was sitting north of the pool, drinking champagne, and especially thinking about which luxury car she was going to drive today for her outing. Melanie finally chose her favorite of the moment, a Lamborghini worth more than $600,000, brand new. Melanie's motorcade was now heading to her meeting place. Melanie always went out with her bodyguards, because as the wife of one of the richest men in Nigeria, she was obviously in the sights of people with bad intentions, and ready to do anything for money. Arrived at the construction site, after visiting several rooms. Melanie entered a room in which a young woman was working, and said to her, "Hello, miss. Well, I call you miss because I assume you are not married. I know how to recognize married women, and I can confirm that you are not married." "Hello, madam. And yes indeed, I am not married, I am single. That's it. I am never wrong. By the way, miss, this electrician job that you do is really not made for women." "Why do you say that, madam?" asked Jessica. "I say it because you smell very bad. Your body odor is really very unpleasant. I have had trouble breathing since I have been in this room. Luckily you are not married, because with this smell. In any case, luckily I do not suffer from any respiratory problems, otherwise I think I would have had a crisis as soon as I entered this room." "Darling," called Mr. Franck, her husband, who had been standing behind her for several minutes, and who listened to her entire conversation with Jessica the electrician, without saying a word. Melanie was surprised to see her husband at the construction site. "Darling, you didn't tell me you were going to take a look around here. As you can see, and as I told you, I came to see how the work was progressing. I must admit that the whole team is doing a really good job in general." Then Mr. Franck left with Melanie. Jessica was so ashamed of the comments Melanie had made towards her. Especially since her colleagues, especially the men, were right next to her, and listened to everything. But she didn't understand why Melanie had unleashed on her, for no reason. Once home, Jessica the electrician started thinking about the scene Melanie had made for her. and was talking to herself, saying, "Who does this Melanie think she is? My God, why do these pretentious, upstart rich women feel compelled to constantly put people down to give themselves value? This Melanie has the courage to say that I smell bad. A very clean girl like me, who never has any bad odor, despite the work I do, even in very hot weather. And she makes fun of me because I'm not married. A poor girl like her has the courage to speak badly to me. And that's just because she's the wife of a billionaire. A stupid girl, who without her husband's money, is not even able to pay the rent of the cheapest room in Lagos. But she still has the nerve to insult me. Me, a young, hardworking fighter, who pays my rent all by herself, without asking anything from a man. You're right, Melanie, thank your bodyguards, and your husband's money, because if we're left alone, I'm going to hit you very badly. And give yourself natural Botox. Actually, I understand you, Melanie. You're so ugly. Despite all the millions of dollars you spend on plastic surgery, you're still so ugly. It's normal that you're picking on me, because it hurts you so much to see how beautiful I am, naturally." And her husband, Mr. Franck, who watched her insult me without saying anything. It's obvious that this man doesn't have the right to speak in front of his stupid wife. Otherwise, he would have told her to stop bothering me. But he watched her put on a show without saying anything. I hope for his sake that he is the one wearing the pants in this relationship. He already has serious vision problems, because with all the beautiful women in this country, it's this ugly Melanie that he chose to be his wife. This Melanie thinks she despises me, because she drives expensive Ferraris and such. One day I too will have luxury cars, and with my own money. Stupid girl. That night, while his wife Melanie was sleeping, Mr. Franck was thinking about the nasty things Melanie had said to Jessica, the electrician. He was thinking to himself, "Oh my God. What kind of woman did I marry? Melanie spends her time being unpleasant to everyone. Even my own mother who gave birth to me, she doesn't respect her. Today at the construction site, she spoke badly to that electrician, telling her she smells bad. Just out of pure jealousy. I'm sure she spoke like that, because that girl is so beautiful. Today was the 5th time I've seen that electrician at the construction site, and she's always beautiful and clean. This beautiful girl is far from smelling bad. And she's 1,000 times more beautiful than Melanie. Plus, she's very polite and has such a sweet voice. I hope she wasn't too offended by the words of this Melanie, who doesn't see beyond the end of her nose. An incapable, an irresponsible woman, who can't take care of her husband and her home. Indeed, Melanie did not take care of her husband. Mr. Franck was very sad in his married life. Melanie had married him really just for his money. She had no feelings for him. Mr. Franck always ate alone at the table, being sad, while Melanie went about her business and hung out on social networks. As for her intimate life, it was very catastrophic. Because Melanie never wanted to satisfy her husband. Every time he touched her, and let her know that he wanted her, she pushed him away in the worst possible way. By yelling at him while telling him that she was not obliged to satisfy him in bed. Mr. Franck was really depressed and stressed by Melanie. He consoled himself by working hard, because earning a lot of money made him happy, even if only for a little while. 2 weeks later, Mr. Franck went back to his construction site, and found Jessica, the electrician, who had just finished her work, and was about to go home. Mr. Franck approached her and said, "I apologize for the unpleasant remarks my wife made to you last time. It was really annoying. But she should never have told you, because you don't smell bad at all. On the contrary, you smell very good, and you are a very clean girl, every time I catch you walking." "Thank you, Mr. Franck, that's very kind of you," Jessica replied. "Don't thank me because it's the truth. Moreover, you are a very beautiful woman. Your darling is really lucky to have a wife as beautiful as you, hardworking and very determined. By the way, I really appreciate the work you do. Your electrician's overalls suit you perfectly. You look gorgeous and very elegant with it. Thank you very much, Mr. Franck, but I'm single. Jessica replied, very flattered. That's great. So I thank God that you're single, because I've always been attracted to you. But I didn't know how to tell you. Jessica, I like you a lot. Thank you, Mr. Franck, that's kind, but I wouldn't want to have any problems with your wife, Melanie. No, don't worry about her, replied Mr. Franck. I noticed that you're getting ready to go home. I can drop you off at your place, if that's okay with you. Thank you, Mr. Franck, that's very kind, but if your wife finds out about this, I think she'll cause me problems. No, she won't hurt you, don't worry, I'll take care of her. Jessica agreed to be driven home by Mr. Franck. Once in his luxurious car, a Rolls-Royce, which is worth more than $650,000, Jessica told him. Your car is so beautiful and luxurious, Mr. Franck. Thank you, my beautiful Jessica. This is one of the reasons I work hard. And you can just call me Franck. From now on, you and I are friends. Then the two smiled. And Jessica told her. Why last time when your wife spoke badly to me, you looked without saying anything. By the way, I was so embarrassed that I didn't know how to tell her to stop. And if I told her to stop, it could have made the situation worse, I think. Okay, I understand you. I thought you weren't saying anything because you two thought I smelled bad. No, my darling, far from it. Arrived at Jessica's house, Mr. Franck asked his bodyguards to park their car far enough from Jessica's house so as not to draw too much attention to her from the neighbors, and so that she wouldn't be embarrassed by so many protocols. Your house is very clean like yourself, and very tidy, my dear. Thank you, Franck, that's very kind. Thank you for appreciating my modest house. Then Jessica said to Mr. Franck. I'm going to quickly wash and change, give me a minute, I want you to eat with me, if that's okay with you. Okay, my dear, that doesn't bother me at all, quite the contrary. When Jessica came back to the living room, after washing and changing, Mr. Franck couldn't believe his eyes. He couldn't believe his eyes and realized how beautiful Jessica was, and how beautiful her body was. Especially with that magnificent red dress, which showed off every wonderful curve of her body. And that sumptuous chest that made Mr. Franck dream. Jessica, you are truly magnificent. God gave you everything, I would give anything to have you as my wife. Exclaimed Mr. Franck. You men, you always say that when you want a woman. No, Jessica, believe me, I'm very serious, I like you a lot, and I'm ready to do anything to have you. Jessica laughed and replied. Okay, I understand, I hope you're not just saying it out of emotion. Franck, I always cook several meals for the week, which I keep in the freezer, so I quickly heat up a dish, and we sit down to eat. Okay, my dear Jessica. Jessica set the table, and invited Mr. Franck to eat. You are a truly complete woman, my beautiful Jessica. In addition to all the qualities you have, you also know how to cook. You are truly the ideal woman. Mr. Franck was very comfortable with Jessica, he loved her complicity, and especially the fact that she was not a girl with complexes. They conversed as if they had known each other for years. Yet it had only been a few hours since they had really gotten to know each other. So much so that the connection was going well between them. This meal is very delicious, my darling. You cook better than my servants. Thank you, Franck, that's very kind. I thought you were going to say that I cook better than your wife. Just to flatter me, said Jessica, laughing. Well, of course you cook 1,000,000 times better than my wife. She never cooks. She doesn't even know how to boil water in a saucepan. My God, how come? Jessica replied, laughing. I assure you, my darling Jessica. My wife never cooks for me. In 5 years of marriage, she's only cooked for me 3 times. My God, it's really terrible. Jessica replied. I'm really not happy in my home, and that's on every level. Yes, my dear, on every level. So it must be very complicated for you, Franck. Mr. Franck nodded yes, smiling embarrassedly. Then he began to caress Jessica, saying to her, You're perfect, my darling. With you, I'm sure I'd be very happy. In every sense of the word. Jessica, very flattered, began to smile, also caressing Mr. Franck. She already found him very sweet and attentive. Jessica noticed in such a short time that Mr. Franck was a real, sincere, and honest man. They found themselves in Jessica's room, so much so that Mr. Franck wanted her, and couldn't hold back. It had been more than 4 months since he had had any intimate relations with his wife. And that was normal for poor Mr. Franck. But Jessica took such good care of him that day. It was the best intimate relationship he had ever had in his life. Jessica made her soar to the point of surpassing 7th heaven. After having a good time, for several hours, with his darling Jessica, Mr. Franck came home, very happy. He had just spent the best day of his life in a very long time. In his room, despite being next to his wife Melanie, he didn't even see her anymore. She had become invisible to him. What are you thinking, Franck? Since you came back, it was as if you didn't see me. You've barely spoken to me. Are you interested in me today? What, because I didn't beg you today, saying that I want you. And you're sending me packing like usual. Isn't it? Please leave me alone. I had a great day, so don't ruin it. Melanie was shocked to hear her husband speak to her like that, because it almost never happened. She understood that something was wrong. The months passed and Mr. Franck could no longer bear this past of his beautiful and sweet Jessica. He was so addicted to her and appreciated her behavior and her company so much. To the point where he took Jessica out of her modest apartment in his old working-class neighborhood and offered her one of his luxurious brand-new apartments, which was under construction and in which Jessica worked. He equipped the apartment by offering her luxurious furniture of the latest generation, which he sells in his many luxury real estate stores. And he practically lived with Jessica in this apartment, so much so that he spent time there with his beloved, with whom he fell madly in love. Yes, Mr. Franck had completely deserted his house, his famous home. He had especially deserted his wife Melanie. Furthermore, he offered Jessica the car of her dreams, a luxurious Mercedes G-Class, latest generation, which he had repainted in orange, the favorite color of his darling Jessica. She was so happy that she could not realize all this blessing that was happening to her suddenly. Because in this case of barely 5 months, Jessica went from single to being in a relationship with one of the richest men in the country. And especially one of the kindest and most caring men in the world, who covered her with gifts and especially love. Jessica had really fallen in love with Mr. Franck so much that he was a good man. Melanie, when she had become a raging madman, especially depressed, because she had realized that her husband was seeing another woman. Seeing to what extent he no longer gave her any importance. But above all, to what extent he no longer gave her all this money, which allowed her to live this luxurious and expensive lifestyle that she had maintained during these last 5 years of marriage. No more private jet trips to go shopping in Dubai, Milan, or Los Angeles. No more expensive new wigs, Mr. Franck to cut everything. One evening while her husband was in the shower, Jessica called, and it was Melanie who picked up. Hello. You're that stupid girl who's dating my husband, right? You're the witch who bewitched my husband so he wouldn't give me his money anymore, weren't you? Wait until I get my hands on you, I'll do your face a facelift. It's your face that needs to be redone. Ugliest lady in Lagos. Despite all the money you spend on plastic surgery, you're still just as ugly. By the way, start learning a trade, because you'll soon be homeless. Poor stupid girl. Jessica said, making fun of Melanie and hanging up on her. Stupid girl. You have the courage to threaten me, and you accuse me of being a witch doctor who has bewitched your husband. Nonsense. A woman incapable of running a home. Start packing your bags, my dear, because my husband is going to put you out on the street in no time. Melanie was very furious after being put in her place by Jessica. Franck, you're the one who allows this stupid girl to disrespect me, aren't you? The girl you're dating has the nerve to insult me. Who asked you to answer my calls? Is that the answer you find to give me? Are you serious? By the way, Melanie, for Saturday's wedding, you no longer have to come. What? What do you mean? I've been preparing for your brother's wedding for over 4 months. This beautiful outfit I had sewn, this magnificent Chanel handbag, and this magnificent pair of expensive Louboutin pumps that I bought in Paris, especially for this occasion. What do I do with them? And why don't you want me to come to your brother's wedding on Saturday anymore? Weren't you the one who begged me to go with you? Just like you said, I begged you. Now I've decided to go with someone I don't have to beg to be with me. Melanie was even angrier, and especially shocked, to hear her husband claim that he was going to the wedding with another woman. Franck, so you're confirming that you're cheating on me with another woman? And what's wrong with you? In any case, I was clear with you, Melanie. I'll go with someone else, and that's it. I don't have to answer to you. Melanie was dejected and desperate to listen to her husband speak to her with such contempt and firmness. Especially the fact that he called her Melanie. He didn't call her darling, or my baby. It was really a cold shower for Melanie, who believed that she could mistreat Franck all her life. She realized that the situation had really gotten out of hand, and she saw her whole life flashing before her eyes. Saturday's ceremony had finally arrived. The day of Franck's brother's wedding. As agreed, Franck went to the wedding with Jessica, and introduced her to all his parents as his new wife, whom he will soon marry. Franck was very happy to be at the ceremony with his sweetheart Jessica. He continued to show her attention and affection. Everyone admired their relationship. Meanwhile, Melanie still had the courage to come to the ceremony, despite Mr. Franck being transparent with her. Melanie was sitting in a corner, on a random table set up at the last minute, for people who didn't have a seat. She was far from her husband's head table, where she was supposed to be sitting. Everyone looked at her with contempt and mocked her, seeing how much her husband had humiliated her by coming to the wedding with another woman. She watched her husband from afar, who was in love and having fun with his new sweetheart Jessica. Melanie was really furious. It was truly the shame of her life, but she insisted on staying, because she absolutely wanted to confront Franck's girlfriend, whom he was introducing to everyone as his new wife. In the middle of the ceremony, Melanie followed Mr. Franck and Jessica, who went out to get something in their car. She started yelling at Jessica. "You're the stupid girl who bewitched my husband. Don't think my husband is going to leave me because of you. He loves me too much, it's impossible. He just wants to have fun and spend some time with you, nothing more. So stop making up stories and thinking you can take over my home, because it's never going to happen. By the way, I recognize you. You're the poor electrician I found on the construction site last time. Okay. So you were already going out with my husband, I understand better. So it's a poor girl like you who dares to call me ugly. What do you think you are? Of course you're ugly. I'm only saying what I see. And as I told you, no cosmetic surgery will ever be able to do anything for you. Because your face is a mistake of nature. Your ugliness is truly frightening. I don't know how my husband managed to sleep next to you for 5 long years. How horrible. Are you crazy? Is it my husband you dare call your husband? Melanie. Don't ever call me your husband again. Apparently you haven't yet understood that it's over between you and me. I'm not your husband anymore. You'll receive the divorce papers in a few days. I have nothing more to do with a useless, materialistic, and unconscious woman like you, who only thinks about buying wigs, clothes, bags, and expensive cars. Without knowing how to work and earn this money. Your dream life is over, madam. At least with my money, because you'll never see the color of it again. I hope the men you cheat on me with will be able to accommodate you. Yes, I know, and I have proof of your numerous deceptions, even with my colleagues. But I turned a blind eye all this time, without saying anything, because I was unconsciously madly in love with you. But that's all over. As you can see, I have rebuilt my life with this magnificent woman, as beautiful on the outside as on the inside. If you're smart, save time and go home and put your things away, because in 2 days, I don't want to see you in my house anymore, madam. Melanie was so ashamed, and she was so humiliated and desperate, to the point of crying all the tears in her body. 2 days later, Mr. Franck forcibly threw Melanie out, because she didn't want to leave, saying that she had nowhere to go. Indeed, she had nowhere to go, because Melanie didn't even have $1 in savings, which could have allowed her to rent the cheapest room in Lagos. As Jessica had predicted, Melanie had no choice but to return to live in her mother's old, rotten house, which she had abandoned in poverty since she became rich. All her old friends from the precarious neighborhood, where she grew up, made fun of her, because Melanie was putting them down every day on social media when she was living her luxurious life. Now she was just a shadow of herself. All the men she cheated on her husband with had sent her packing, telling her they had nothing to give her. Her mother looked at her with contempt, because when Melanie was living in total luxury, she didn't even send a grain of rice to her mother. Mr. Franck and Jessica got married during a luxurious wedding ceremony, which cost more than $3 million. The whole country talked about this very successful and magical wedding for several years. Yes, as you can see, Jessica got married while pregnant. She was expecting beautiful twins. Mr. Franck was the happiest man in the world, because they were his first children. During his last 5 unhappy years of marriage with Melanie, she refused to give him children, because she absolutely wanted to keep her so-called dream body for as long as possible. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and give us a like to encourage us.